Global happenings today. We communicate. We analyze global news. As Nigerians are bothered over the comment made by El-Rufai, former governor of Kaduna State, that the intention of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is to be a life president, it brings back a lot of memories. Now, fairly recently, the former president of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, was also indicted with the allegation of seeking for a third term, which he was being denied. And guess what? He spoke about that issue of third term, and you get to hear his position that he actually did not want it, that if he needed it, he would have gotten it. Now, let me allow you watch the video where he made that statement and get to hear what some key political analysts have to say about that statement that he made, that he wasn't even involved in anything called cravings for third term. And we'll be
There are still some stupid Nigerians who still believe that I wanted a third term. I think I'm not a fool. If I wanted a third term, I know how to go about it. And there's no Nigerian, dead or alive, that will say I called him, I told him I wanted a third term. None. And I keep telling them that, look, if I wanted to get debt relief, which is more difficult than getting a third term, and I got it, if I wanted a third time, I would have got it. But some people believe that unless they are there, nobody else. They will even tell you that they haven't got anybody else. And I believe that is a sin against God.
Now let's listen to the likes of Abati and Rufai Hussaini, how they took out time to place provable evidences on ground, pointing to the fact that it was just a fairy tale from the president, because we're all around when it all happened. Let me allow you listen to them, and we'll be back to talk more.
You see me, I like empirical wabulence.
Yes.
I mean, wabulence person.
Yes.
Baba Obasanjo, he said you want to Baba, now this country we did, you want time, God, he don't give you. That's just it. Because there were many contending factors then. You forget he was fighting Atiku Abubakar then. One of the biggest problems then was that he had too many people he was fighting. And that's why some people in his own party stood against him. Let me read an excerpt of an empirical interview done by Farouk Aliyu.
You have empirical facts?
Oh, yes, from Vanguard newspaper, 2009. They asked him, were you part of those bribed for third term? He said no. But he further said, supporters of the project were paid a minimum of 50 million each. Some were offered 250 million. I know Honorable Ningi was with us. I was offered 400 million. And Speaker Milu Bello Masari 500 million. All the money was in cash, not in check, to support third-term agenda, but they all refused to collect the money. So, the way President Obasanjo is saying it, it's almost like somebody is trying to review history, like tell us we did not know happened. It's revisionism, Baba. Respect you for what you have done for this country, but let's not revise history in our face. You wanted third term now, and he's saying that if you wanted it, and how does debt relief have to do with third term? Please, President Obasanjo, with due respect, for the fact that you got debt relief, doesn't have anything to do with third term. That if you could get debt relief, you'll have gotten third term. There was a global zeitgeist to forgive Africa and other nations that were debt-ridden their debts at that point in time. There was a global zeitgeist, because the Fed was going to reset this economy. But the debts they forgave those countries then, they've gone and taken more basic, people like Nigeria. So with due respect, don't revise history for us.
Right.
The move was there. Bugaji has confirmed it. Many more people will come out and confirm. And which politician, if he said he truly wanted, if he wanted to get it, he would have get it. Which politician will see opportunity and not take it? And that's why we are crying. Because as at then, at least you had the National Assembly that was, firm because he had a lot of fight. With this National Assembly, I asked Somna Sambo, that in this National Assembly that we see so, National Assembly, is it not National Assembly that ratified the state of emergency for its vote?
On your mandate,
we shall stand.
Okay, all right. Well, all right.
This National Assembly, I beg.
All right, now. Well, let's go to Delta State now. Dr. Abati, correct me if I am wrong.
Okay, see, one of the things that President Obasanjo said at that Goodluck Jonathan Foundation program in Ghana was that, look, the government of the people is the government of the people. He rejected the idea of, having a government of the majority, because it was also some of the other things he said, asking for inclusion, asking for participatory democracy. In fact, he also gave that popular proverb that the problem with democracy in Africa is the practice of democracy, and that the insect that is dealing with democracy in Africa is the insect that is inside the democracy, the practice of it. So Baba also repeated that. But the controversial part of it that came out was not what he said about, electoral reform accountability, but what he said about third term. However, I argued earlier this morning that President Obasanjo threw a challenge that he was not involved in the third term gambit. That National Political Reform Conference of 2006 was to deal with substantial issues about the arrangement of Nigeria, about resource allocation and all that. But it was aborted on the basis of this this third term thing. In fact, the South-South caucus walked out of that conference, and that conference died, despite the fact that it was not backed by any legislation, any legal framework. However, now he says he was not part of it, so maybe it was a case of proxies. But one person has already come out to say Baba was involved in the third term, Dr. Usman Bugaje, who was on this program this morning. And he says he has evidence. So he has taken up President Obasanjo's challenge to say that no, President Obasanjo was involved in it. And I reminded Dr. Bugaje that he should wait for President Obasanjo's response. That evidence that he has, he will have to provide it. Hi.
My colleagues in the House, and we just want to talk about this. Why is it that President Obasanjo is still insisting that he wasn't part of it, despite the fact that there are contrary opinions, in respect to his move towards take them?
Well, the truth be told, for a while now, almost like 2-3 weeks now, Baba has been hammering on the National Assembly. He did not spare them. He has talked about his how budget padding. He said quite a lot about quite damning things about them, and it's only natural at some point that they would want to respond, because it takes two to tango. And don't forget that some of the people who were in Obasanjo's time are still very much in the assembly till today. Wow, talk about those whose umbilical cord they were born in the house. And now Obasanjo is saying that it's getting worse. Now, there's something he said that caught my attention. He said no one, dead or alive, would say that I consulted him to run a third term. Now, that's a very strong statement. Don't forget that General Lashed, retired, is a former military officer. If he said dead or alive, that nobody can come out, saying that he wanted a third term. Maybe how
Dr. Usman says that he has evidence, according to Ruben Abati, that doctor who was featured in an interview says he has evidence, that Oga actually made them.
Well, it's possible. All of us would like to see that evidence eventually, but I do believe personally
that he did not personally.
That yes, because sometimes I have seen some of these politicians; they can be very, very funny.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have done second term, they say, "Oh God, one good turn deserves another." Why don't we just see how we can, I can talk to my colleagues. Let me see how we can, get you a third term. I have seen some of these aides to our politicians go ahead. The way they talk, you begin to wonder, is this stomach infrastructure talking? The person did not send them. They will say no. Like the other time I heard about Voila.
Now, sorry,
talking about
before you go on, he did not send them, but already they were monies in cash to the tune of some 200 million, some 450 million, based on what Rufai Oseni said, that they were, cash. There were people who had already spoken far back about this.
Well, he has said that dead or alive, he has not spoken to anyone.
So which means somebody need to come out.
Yes, let the evidence begin to roll in. In the Nigerians want, but honestly speaking, this is me talking. We have too many pressing things to begin to go to the past and begin to dig. We have an issue right here facing us as a nation. Going to the past to deal with someone who will not rule us again, who actually ended up doing only 2 terms. When we have a situation where somebody may be thinking of doing another term, and we are here, a live president, we are here talking about somebody who will not. I think we are actually having misplaced priorities here.
All right, that's what we'd like to leave it.